Couple dozen stratagems, 20 minutes. Let's do it. Hey everyone, welcome back to my in-depth review of the new Space Marine Codex out today. I am excited to go through it all with you. As always, my name is Jay. And in this video, I'll be going over the new stratagems. There are a lot of them. Yes. Now obviously, the stratagems are one of the cool new features of Warhammer 40k 8th edition. You can use command points based on how you build your army for stratagems. And the really cool thing about the stratagems for the Space Marines is A, there's a lot of them. B, some of them can be used pre-game. Actually, when designing your list, you can actually use the stratagems to design your list. Very cool stuff. To get like certain relics and stuff, you know, to the combat squad. It's really cool stuff. So let's go through all the stratagems in this episode or this video. So, I'll be going over the command points and the stratagems. Now, some of them are specifically for certain chapters, some of them are for all chapters, and we'll go through it all. First one's called Relics of the Chapter. It's 1/3 CP. Use the stratagem before the battle. See, this is what I mentioned before the battle. Your army can have 1 extra chapter relic for 1 CP, or 2 extra chapter relics for 3 CP. All the chapter relics that you include must be different and be given to different Space Marine characters. So there you go. You can build your list and have relics, which are pretty cool. I'll go over them maybe in a next video, or at least in another video, and discuss, you know, about. That's pretty cool. So you can use some extra relics. Next one's called Linebreaker Bombardment. 1 CP. Use a stratagem in your shooting phase if a Vindicator. This is kind of like the old Vindicator trilogy of Doom. But it's very circumstantial. Use the stratagem in your shooting phase of the Vindicators within 6 inches of 2 other friendly chapter Vindicators. If you do so, the Vindicators cannot fire their Demolisher cannons this phase. Instead, select a visible point on the battlefield within 24 inches of all 3 vehicles. Roll a dice for each unit, friend or foe, within 3 inches of that point. Add 1 to the result of the unit being rolled for has 10 or more models, but subtract 1 if the unit being rolled for is a character. On a 4+, the unit suffers 3d3 mortal wounds. Yeah. 3d3 mortal wounds. Hello, nasty. So you could choose, you pick a point, hopefully your opponent's HQ is there, you roll up, well, and goodbye HQ. 3d3 mortal wounds. Ouch. Kill Shot, 1 CP. Use this stratagem in your shooting phase of predators within 6 inches of 2 other friendly predators. If you do so, you can add 1 to the wound rolls and damage rolls for all the predators' attacks that target monsters and vehicles during that phase. Number 3, Chapter Master, 3 CP. Use this stratagem before the battle, so once again, before the game's even begun. Select an Adeptus Astartes captain in your army. Replace this model's captain keyword with Chapter Master. Basically, you get a free upgrade to a Chapter Master using the Chapter Master command points. And replaces Rights of Battle ability with the following ability. Chapter Master, you can reroll any failed hit rolls for friendly chapter units within 6 inches of this model. You can only use this stratagem once, and your army cannot include 2 Chapter Masters from the same chapter. That's nasty. Upgrade your captain. Doom comes to the opponent. Scions of Guilliman. Once again, this is obviously Guilliman, so it's Ultramarines. 1 CP. Use the stratagem when your Ultramarines infantry or Ultramarines biker unit is selected to attack in the shooting phase or fight phase. You can reroll all hit rolls of 1 for that unit for the rest of the phase. If the unit is a tactical squad or intercessor squad, reroll all failed to hit rolls. This is one of my favorite ones, of course, because it brings back old memories. Orbital Bombardment for 3 CP. This stratagem can be used once per battle. In the shooting phase, if any Adeptus Astartes Warlord that did not move during your movement phase. Instead of shooting with your Warlord's weapon, select a visible point on the battlefield and roll a d6 for every unit within d6 inches of that point. Subtract 1 from the result if the unit being rolled for is a character. On 4+, the unit being rolled for suffers d3 mortal wounds. Personally, I think Line breaker bombardment is more fun, especially early in the game, but you have to have 3 Vindicators. Cluster mines. Use the stratagem. This is 1 CP. Use the stratagem when a scout bike squad. Now this is nasty. Use the stratagem when a scout bike squad falls back. Select one enemy unit that is within 1 inch of the unit before it moves and roll a d6. On a 2-up, that unit suffers d3 mortal wounds. That's going to be really nasty, especially like the scout bikers are pretty strong. I think scouts are the best choice for HQ, for troops, sorry. This one is going to be an auto-include. First turn for White Scar biker armies. Because we already discussed, so White Scar bikers get an additional, when they, first of all, because they're Space Marine bikers, when they advance, they move 6 inches. White Scars have the ability through their chapter tactic to move an extra 2 inches. So they can advance 20 inches. This next one, 1 CP. Born in the Saddle. Use the stratagem when a White Scars biker unit advances. That unit can still shoot and charge this turn. Yeah, turn 1. Use this stratagem. So that's pretty nasty. So a giant squad of bikers could advance 20 inches, fire, and assault. For 1 CP. Masterful Marksmanship. Use the stratagem, this is 1 CP. Use the stratagem when a Stern Guard veteran squad is selected to attack in the shooting phase. You can add 1 to all wound rolls made for this unit, special issue bolt gun attacks in that phase. Cool. Next one, Abhor the Witch. 1 CP. Use the stratagem when an enemy psyker manifests a psychic power within 24 inches of friendly Black Templars unit. Roll d6 on a 4-up. That psychic power is resisted by the sheer will power of your unit, and the effects are negated. Empiric Channeling. 1 CP. Use the stratagem at the start of the psychic phase, and attempt to start a psyker is within 6 inches of at least 2 other friendly chapter psykers. Now this isn't going to be used very often. I don't think psykers are going to be brought with that ferocity, but you never know. The Psyker can immediately attempt to manifest 1 additional psychic power this turn, and when attempting to manifest this power, you can add 2 to the psychic test. Cool. So if you're bringing a psychic heavy armor, that'd be good. That's 1 CP. Data link telemetry, 1 CP. Use the stratagem in the shooting phase just before Whirlwind shoots. If the target of the Whirlwind shooting attacks are visible to a friendly chapter land speeder unit that is within 12 inches of the target unit, the Whirlwind's attacks automatically hit. Cool. Hellfire Shells, 1 CP. Use the stratagem just before an Adeptus Astartes infantry model attacks with a heavy bolter. You can make a single hit roll with the weapon this phase. However, if it hits, the target unit suffers d3 mortal wounds. Bolter Drill, 1 CP. So Imperial Fists, you guys know a Bolter Drill. Use the stratagem just before an Imperial Fist infantry unit attacks in the shooting phase. Each time you roll a 6+ for a model's firing a bolter weapon, that model can immediately make another hit roll using the same weapon at that same target. These bonus attacks cannot themselves generate any further attacks. For the purposes of the stratagem, a bolt weapon is any weapon profile whose name includes the word bolt, except Pedro Cantor's Dorn's arrow is also a bolt weapon. Of course, yeah, that makes sense. So Machine Empathy, 1 CP. Use the stratagem just before an Iron Hands vehicle attacks in the shooting phase. Until the end of the phase, that vehicle can ignore the penalties of moving and firing a heavy weapon, and or for advancing and firing an assault weapon. Flamecraft, 1 CP. Use the stratagem just before a Salamander's unit attacks in the shooting phase. Add 1 to the wound rolls made for all that unit's flame weapons. For the purposes of the stratagem, a flame weapon is any weapon profile whose name includes the word flame. Example, Flamer, Heavy Flamer, Flamestorm Cannon, Flamestorm Gauntlet. Vulcan Heston's Gauntlet of the Forge is also a flame weapon. Next one, Strike from the Shadows, 1 CP. Use the stratagem when you can set up a Raven Guard infantry unit during deployment. You can set up the unit in the shadows instead of placing it on the battlefield at the beginning of the first battle round, but before the first turn begins. The unit emerges from their hiding place. Set them up anywhere on the battlefield that's more than 9 inches away from enemy units. Okay, gotta give them a scout. Cool. Right, yeah. Interesting. Not scout. infiltrate. Auspex Scan, 2 CP. I like this one. Use the stratagem immediately after your opponent sets up a unit that is arriving on the battlefield as reinforcements within 12 inches of one of your Adeptus Astartes infantry units. Your unit can immediately shoot at the enemy unit. It's basically what we've been expecting you from Inquisitor Kotias. So your unit can immediately shoot at the enemy unit as if there was a shooting phase, but you must subtract 1 from all the resulting hit rolls. Cool. Tactical Flexibility, 1 CP. Use this stratagem at the start of any of your movement phases. Select a friendly Adeptus Astartes unit within the combat squad's ability that has 10 models. That unit can immediately split into 2 separate units, each containing 5 models. Cool. You can just break up a squad if you wanted to. Like if you go for 2 objectives or something. Works for me. 1 CP. Flak Missile, 1 CP. You can use this stratagem just before a friendly Adeptus Astartes infantry model attacks a unit that can fly with a missile launcher. You only make a single hit roll with this weapon. This phase, however, add 1 to the hit roll, and if it hits, the target unit suffers D3 mortal wounds. Armor of Contempt. Use the stratagem when an Adeptus Astartes vehicle suffers a mortal wound, 1 CP. Roll a d6 for that mortal wound, and each other mortal wound inflicted on this model for the rest of the phase. On 5 up, that mortal wound is ignored and has no effect. Circumstantial. The next one. Only in death does duty end. 2 CP. Use a stratagem when an Adeptus Astartes character is slain. That model summons the strength for 1 final attack. You can immediately either shoot as if it were a shooting phase or fight as if it were in a fight phase. The stratagem is not cumulative with the Astartes banner ability. That stratagem takes precedence. Cool. So again, if your crazy HQ goes down and it's in the close combat phase, make an attack. Number 3, the next one, Honor the Chapter, 3 CP. You know it's going to be a good one when it's 3 CP. Use stratagem at the end of the fight phase. Select an Adeptus Astartes infantry or Adeptus Astartes biker unit. That unit can immediately fight for a second time. I think it's overcosted. I think 2 CP would be okay with that. Yeah, it depends on the squad. 3 CP would be pretty... Wisdom of the Ancients, 1 CP. Use the stratagem at the start of any phase. Select a friendly Adeptus Astartes Chapter Dreadnought. Until the end of the phase, you can reroll all hit rolls of 1 for chapter units within 6 inches of the Dreadnought. Pretty cool. Death to the Traitors, 1 CP. Use a stratagem when a Adeptus Astartes unit is chosen to attack in the fight phase. Each time you roll a hit roll of 6 up for a model in the unit during this phase, it can, if it was targeting a Heretic Astartes unit, immediately make an extra attack against the same unit using the same weapon. So very circumstantial. These extra attacks cannot themselves generate any further attacks. And finally, Tremor Shells, 1 CP. Use a stratagem when a Thunderfire cannon is selected to attack in the shooting phase. Subtract 1 from all wound rolls when firing the Thunderfire cannon this phase. But if the target is hit, then during its next turn, half its movement characteristic and the result of any advance and charge rolls it makes. Tremor Shells have no effect on Titanic units and units that fly. So it can slow down your opponent. Cool stuff. And that's it. That's all of these stratagems. But as you can see, there's tons and tons of variety. Depending on what you want to do, and you can easily build your list. Some of them even help you build your list, give you relics, upgrade your HQs. You can help you combat your squad, your guys. Some of them are very circumstantial, and you'll have to keep track of the game to remember them. But getting the cards or something and holding them near you will help. That's it. So what do you think of the new Space Marine stratagems in the new Space Marine Codex? Do you like them? What do you think? Leave comments in the comment section down below. Let's keep this conversation going. What do you guys think of this new codex? And yeah, let's keep talking about it. So it's a huge thank you to all my Patreon subscribers. Link in the description below if you want to help support my videos. As you can see, their names go by my head. It's a huge thank you to them. It's because of them that I can do these reviews. And a huge thank you to you for being part of the conversation, liking my videos, subscribing to my channel, spreading these videos. Keep them coming. So see you in the next video for sure. Until next time, this is Jay saying.